Hey guys, what is up? It is your boy Chanman here, and we are back with the first video since, besides the sparring video I posted, it's been a long time. It's been about 4 or 5 years since I've hopped on the channel, but hey, we're entering a new era of the channel. We're going to be talking about UFC picks, predictions, all of that stuff. So let's go ahead and hop right into it. So first off, the first fight that we're going to be reviewing today is the last fight of the prelims. We're looking at Umar Nurmagomedov versus Davison Figgy Fierro. However the hell you say his name, I just know he's Figgy. I've watched him fight multiple times, all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. But let's go ahead and hop into it. I think this fight, pretty easy. I think everybody knows, pretty much what's going to happen here. Umar's pretty good. I think Umar, he definitely isn't like the strong Dagestanis that we've seen before, such as Khabib or Islam. There's definitely game plans to beating Umar. Actually, in the Merab fight, I took Merab over Umar at like plus 300 and had a pretty good payday with Merab. Merab. So, but this isn't going to be like the Merab fight. I think Umar's going to go in there and he's going to dominate Figgy. Figgy's on the back foot. I mean, hell, he's 38 years old. He's getting old, and he's past the age of 35. And I think most MMA fans have always heard the little curse with 35-year-olds. That's when the wheels start to fall off, and I think that's definitely true for most fighters. Besides, you could say maybe Volk, but Volk is a generational fighter. But Umar's a great fighter too. I just think Umar's gonna go in there and dominate. I mean, hell, he might get dropped at some point. The Bartista fight was amazing. I think Umar really started to look like he was in trouble. He almost got put in a heel hook. Umar definitely is beatable. Somebody could easily upset Umar at some point. I don't know. Mario Bautista really did a good job against Umar, but I think Umar bounces back. I think everybody knows that. I mean, hell, he's coming in at like what, a negative 1,400? Yeah, negative 1,400 odds, but I wouldn't even consider putting Figgy in one of your parlays. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Moving on to Arnold Allen and John Lord Silva. Who do I take? John Silva. He low-key is a dog. Not going to lie. I would have picked Arnold Allen, though, in this situation under one circumstance. Let's take a look here. Arnold Allen has not fought in 2025, so he hasn't fought in a whole year, and so he hasn't fought in a year and a half, essentially. Damn, the last time he fought was 304 against Edwards Muhammad. Okay. I think he's just going to get the ring rust, the octagon rust. I don't think he's going to be able to go in there and fight Gene Silva. I think Gene Silva's really frustrated after his loss with Diego Lopez. And I have to say, that was a hell of a fight, too. That was a hell of a fight, seeing John Silva and Diego Lopez go at it. And I have to give that second round to John. I'm going to give it to him. He was beating up Diego. And I like Diego. I like both of those fighters. But he was beating him up in the second round, but they just got clipped, And that's a part of fighting. Anybody can get clipped at any time, but when you're in the UFC, the very highest level of mixed martial arts, MMA, you can't be getting clipped like that, I think people, everybody has the right to judge them for getting clipped like that because it's the highest level. It's the highest level of mixed martial arts, as I mentioned. But look what Arnold Allen's his schedule was. He's fought Avlov. I've never actually watched him fight live. Even though I watched that Strickland Duplessis card, I've never watched him fight. But he's fought Calvin Kattar, Dan Hooker, Max Holloway, all that. I just got to give it to John Silva. I think John Silva is going to be the guy. But, you could also argue that John Silva has not had a whole lot of UFC experience. I mean, in my opinion, I could see you saying that. Because, look who he's fought. He has Drew Dober on there, Bryce Mitchell, the other two guys, Charles Jourdain. His real first test was against Lopez, and overall that fight though, he did get his ass beat. That first round was absolute domination from Diego Lopez, but I think John Silva, I think he's going to go in there. I think he's the next upcoming guy. As he mentioned earlier, in the presser, he has autism. It's two autistic guys going at it, and I think you got to have a little bit of tism to get in the ring, anyways. No matter if it's boxing, no matter if it's UFC, MMA, whatever it is, because who the hell wants to get punched in the face for any reason? You know what I'm saying? Besides, unless that's your goal in life is to become a very famous fighter. Nothing wrong with that. But moving on, Silva versus Rose. this is a good one. This is going to be a great fight too, a great women's fight. I don't really like the women's fights because most of them are decisions, but I mean, we look at Silva, and Silva's last 4 fights have been by decision. They've been by decision. I think Rose definitely has a good puncher's chance going into this one. So if you want, my underdog pick of this card of UFC 2 or of UFC 324, you got to give me Rose. I think Rose is who I would take as the underdog pick. I mean, she's what, plus 300, I believe, or plus 200? Let's see here. She's plus 300. I don't know. I think Rose is a great, that's a great odds for Rose if you're going for that. But if you want to go for precise precision, absolutely I could see Silva winning. But my underdog pick for this card is going to be Rose. I think that's where I'm going with that. So let's go ahead and get off the women, because who the hell wants to watch them? All right, the big heavyweight fight of the night. I've actually watched Derek Lewis live in person before, so that fight, and it was his last fight in Nashville, where he fought Textera. I mean, this is a hard fight. I love Derek Lewis. I mean, who doesn't like Derek Lewis? Who doesn't like him? But he's 40. He's getting old. He's got a lot of power, though. You cannot deny that. He has the reach on Waldo. And, this is also not a bad underdog pick either, with Derek Lewis being at, I believe, is plus 240. Let's take a look here. Plus 250. So, Derek Lewis still isn't a bad pick if you're, wanting to throw that into your parlay. But, no. I have to unfortunately take Waldo, and that hurts to say. I love me some Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis is funny. He's a hell of a fighter. I love watching him. He has the most knockouts in UFC history, or is tied for it. But, these veterans, the guys that have been around for, in the 2010s, the wheels are starting to come off for them. I mean, you've seen, legends like, Dustin Poirier retiring. Got to shout out that boy. Little DP up in here, little DP. But, give me Waldo. I just got to go with that. You got to give me Waldo. All right, moving on to what was not the co-main event, but now is the co-main event with Kayla Harrison pulling out due to a neck injury. We got the Suga show for Stephen Yadong. Song Yadong. I've lost money on Song Yadong more than I'm willing to admit, either of him winning or him losing. I lost some money on him when he fought Peter Yan, yeah. And that was a good fight too. I thought Song Yadong actually, he looked really good on the feet against Peter Yan. It was a pretty close fight until Peter would get him to the floor. Once the new current champion could get him to the floor, it was pretty much wraps with Song. But that's the thing. I think Song Yadong's his grappling's pretty underrated. I think Song has pretty good grappling. I think Sean O'Malley needs to stay to the distance that he always does. Don't let Song get up close. Don't let him grab you. And he just needs to play the sniper range that he's always played, and that's the range that made him the UFC champ at one point. 28 years old. I mean, I always think age plays a lot into it, but also 31. I mean, that's the prime age. That's when Habib, really entered his prime, was 33, 31 years old. But Song Yadong versus Suga Sean O'Malley, I think this is an alert pick. So I'm going to go Sean O'Malley on this pick, but it's a big alert pick. I'm alerting everybody that, Song Yadong could pull this one off. This is one that this right here could be a parlay buster if you're not careful. If you go into it thinking, oh yeah, Suga Show's going to take it. It might be over for Suga. He has his kids. It all seems like he's finally relieved. He feels like he's achieved everything that he's went to achieve in the UFC, and that can be dangerous for a fighter once they get into that mindset, like talking about retirement. Like, I've already achieved. He's only 31. Derek Lewis is 40. Why are we talking about retirement? Is it because he's no longer the champ? I know he keeps saying he's joking about it, but there actually has to be there's something serious about what he's saying. He has a kid now. He has the farm, all of these things, and I think the wheels are starting to come off for Sean, and especially if he chokes this fight to Song Yadong, I think Suga Sean gets it done, but they could be coping. I think that's who I'm going with. I think Song Yadong, it's a big alert. I would stay away from this fight on your parlay. I think it could be a buster. And yeah. But moving on to the main event of the night, Justin Gaethje versus Paddy, the Baddy Pimplet. I hate Paddy. I hate Paddy with every bit in me. I want to see that Scalza get knocked out, lad. That's who I want to see get knocked out. I want to see Paddy get knocked out. That's a fan pick, though. But going into this, I want to show everybody this. This is my problem with my one and only problem with Paddy. I think there's a lot more problems with Justin Gaethje than there is Paddy Pimblett. So the thing with Paddy is, look at all the people that he's fought. I mean, that's the biggest thing that holds me up with Paddy, is his strength of schedule, the opponents that he's fought. He's fought an old Tony Ferguson, an old Bobby Green, which is King Green now, by the way, and then Michael Chandler. All these guys have been on the back burner of their career. You know, Tony Ferguson went on a 7-loss, losing streak in the UFC and went to a decision with him. Submitted, King Green. I mean, King Green at this point in his career, he was good in the earlier 2010s, like maybe 2015, 16, 17. He was all right, But, King Green, he just got absolutely KO'd by fucking Roofy. I couldn't tell you anything that King Green has done for the company that's been positive. Kind of my opinion on it. Now, Michael Chandler, what? Doesn't he only have like one win in the UFC against Dan Hooker? Been beat twice by Charles, but that's Charles Oliveira. Give him that. That's Charles Oliveira. He about had Charles out of there, but I don't want to make this a video about Michael Chandler, but Michael Chandler is obviously on the back burner of his career. He's like 38, 39 years old. He's not done really anything positive in the UFC besides getting a lot of money and being an entertaining fighter and building his brand that way. So really, Paddy's career to me and who he has won against is not impressive. It does not impress me, and I think Gaethje's a very big step up in competition. But then you can also say this: Gaethje's 37. He's 37 years old. He fought Fiziev. Hold on, let me do this. Here's my problems with Justin Gaethje. He fought Fiziev his last fight and almost lost, and Fiziev took that on a short notice fight due to Justin Gaethje's opponent pulling out of that fight. I think Fiziev took it on short notice, like in a 2-week advance. I think the wheels are falling off also for Gaethje. I mean, Fiziev bout won that fight. If it wasn't for Gaethje's drop, that he had with the uppercut when they were clinched, I could have seen Gaethje maybe losing that round and losing the fight, at least a split decision instead of a unanimous decision. But that one's a little scary. I mean, Fiziev's a good fighter. He's a tough little cookie to get out of the octagon. But I don't know. But here's the thing for Gaethje. He has to avoid the grappling of Paddy. If Paddy gets him in full mount and is on top, he'll TKO Justin Gaethje immediately, easily. I think a TKO is more common than Gaethje getting submitted by Paddy. But you got to admit it now, and it's hard for me to say this because of the strength of his opponents. But I think Paddy's the deal, man. I think Paddy's the deal, and I hate saying that because I hate Paddy Pimblett. But this is his test. I mean, I don't think he should have got the title shot. I'll be the first to say that right now. But if you want my final prediction for this fight, and I'm pulling for Gaethje, I do believe that Paddy Pimblett wins via TKO. I think he'll stun Gaethje. He'll wobble him. He'll throw a few shots. I think Gaethje will try to scramble, try to do something, and then Paddy will shoot a takedown, either get side control or a full mount. And I think he's going to punch Justin Gaethje out of this fight. And I think Gaethje's going to retire. 37. He's almost 40. Wheels are falling off. He's definitely showing signs of early CTE. I think it's over. I think the new era of fighters have arrived to the lightweight division. I mean, look at what the lightweight division was a year ago. Completely different than what it is now. You got Dustin Poirier retiring. You got, Michael Chandler's out of the top 10. You got Islam Makhachev no longer at lightweight. He's moved up a weight class, won the title there, vacated the title at lightweight. Ilia Topuria moved up and is now the lightweight champion. So there's been a lot of changes in the lightweight lightweight class, and I think Paddy's going to be the real deal, and I think the UFC wants to see Paddy and Taporia, and I unfortunately believe that all the stars are aligning for that to happen. But yeah, that is my prediction for UFC 324. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'm stoked to continue this. We're gonna try to go all the way through all the UFC fights this year, and we're gonna see how we predict and all that stuff. And yeah, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you. Bye.